4-day week. Not something we could do in this particular job. There being 5 days in the week, there kind of has to be 5 shows in the week. But lots and lots more people are now looking for a 4-day week. And when they try it out, they like it. They like a 3-day weekend. The boss can work with a 4-day week. They can work with a 4-day week. It's getting increasingly popular. ICE Group is a major recruitment group in the west of Ireland, and they've been driving this whole 4-day week thing now for a number of years, and the 3-day weekend initiative, as they call it. And they have done a survey, and they have found out now that it's got huge benefits, not just for the worker, but for the workplace, because they're happier workers when they have a 4-day week or a 3-day weekend, and they are better and more productive employees when they come back for their 4-day week. Margaret Cox is director of the ICE Group. Margaret, you could have said you told me so. More and more people looking for a 4-day week. Morning.
Well, Pete, I'm too polite to say I told you so, but you know what? I told you so.
I said this is a job you couldn't have a 4-day week because there's 5 days, it has to be 5 shows. But for those who can have a 4-day week, more and more people are opting for it.
They are, yes. I mean, we're seeing it come across the world, in the UK, in the United States, in places in Europe, particularly, I suppose, Germany and France, and obviously then in Australia and America. So it's waving itself out. And I suppose the point is, when we started this in ICE Group five years ago, everybody thought, this is an experiment that is destined to fail. 5 years on, we haven't failed, and people are happier, our wellness scores are up, our business is doing better, and it's, I would hope, an inspiration to other organisations to at least think about it and then consider trying it.
Where it's practical, I suppose.
Well, here's the thing. I would never, and I said this to you, I think in the past, I never would have thought it was practical in our business back in 2019. I would have said, look, we're a 5-day-a-week business. We open late 2 nights a week in our Pitman training centres, and we're open on Saturdays. We'll never be able to do it. And it isn't until you stop and you ask the questions, why not? What would be better? What do we need to change? Until you seriously take a look at it, that you realise that some things that are practical can be done. So for some organisations, and this is a model that some places adopt, they actually don't open on the 5th day. So they might work Monday to Thursday, and they don't open on a Friday. Other organisations say you can work your 5 days, your 4 days, and take whatever day you want off, so that there's always somebody in the office. It's planned that there's always somebody in the office or in the organisation. And other places like us, we do it. We say you're on the front end of the week, Monday to Thursday, or you're on the back end of the week, Tuesday to Friday, giving everybody that 3-day weekend. And that's the model that works for us. So from a practicality point of view, maybe in your situation, it means, doing a little bit more recording during the week, having somebody, sharing that 5th day with somebody else, and working it like that. Provided you as an organisation are getting the same level of success, the individuals are getting the same level of pay. You're not just compressing the hours into the 4 days, that you're actually giving back. Then the 4-day week may work for organisations. Now, there's other organisations that it won't work for, and you're right. It has to work for the individual organisation.
You can see it working in retail, for example. You can see it working in businesses like that in the high street that are open 5 or 6 days a week. Some staff work these days, some staff work other days. You mentioned that some places just close on the 5th day, but on a very competitive high street, are you stabbing yourself in the back by doing that?
Well, I talked to a company in the last 6 months, and they said, look, they looked at their client base. It was an engineering consultancy organisation. They looked at their client base. They looked at the number of calls and the number of meetings they had on a Friday, and basically it was just a dead day. People doing their administration on the Friday, not talking to clients, non-client facing. So they said, well, why don't we do it differently? We'll close the office on the Friday, and we'll say to our clients, look, we'll get you Monday to Thursday. We're going to continue to give you a great service and see how it works. And it's worked for them, because the people are happier. And it comes back to, if you have a better employee engagement in your organisation and a better culture, it's better for your clients and for your colleagues. It's better for the company, and it's better for the community.
Did you look at how many places, Margaret, how many places, like, you know, bosses being bosses, they're still going to want the 40 hours a week out of you. They're still going to want those 4 days. So instead of doing sort of 37 or 40 hours over 5 days, are you now doing them over 4? So you're looking at longer shifts.
Yeah, so that isn't, and some organisations will say, yeah, we've done that. It's what I would call the compressed hours model. So you're not saving anything for the organisation in terms of people doing their job better. You're just saying, well, we just squeeze it in. And I think that's not fair to the individuals. I think the better way to do it is to work with your individuals, show them ways of doing their job better, cut out the time wasters on a daily basis, make things, use technology better. And by saving a couple of hours in a week, you can reduce your working hours, and then you can pull back from 5 days to 4 days. Because everybody will tell you, and anybody who tells you differently is probably not being totally honest with themselves. You know, what's happening on a Friday afternoon in most organisations? Most organisations, people are just twiddling their thumbs waiting for 5 o'clock to get out the door. Because that's the way it's become. Businesses, most of our clients on a Friday afternoon finish work at about 1 o'clock. And with this working from home, you know, ask yourself, well, how much work is done on a Friday working from home? Because people are tired. Like, it's really work and work-life balance is really tough at the moment for most organisations and for most people. And people are tired on Fridays. And imagine having the Friday off and then using that additional energy to put into your work, getting the same amount of work done. I mean, that's the key thing. Yes. If you can commit to doing the same amount of work in your 4 days as you did spread over 5, then why not get the benefit of that extra day off? Interestingly, and you know, there's an article in the Guardian newspaper was published this week, a trial in the UK in Cambridgeshire, I think, with the local authority there. And they did it for 6 months, and they've had overwhelmingly positive results. There was only 2 small areas where things didn't improve in terms of outputs. But they had greater retention. They saved more money on agency staff. They and this was across the board, from finance people and administration people to the bin men. Really? Collecting the rubbish. Yeah. It's a really, really great a really great trial and a great result. And there's many local authorities now, I believe, in the United Kingdom that are perhaps feeling under a Labour government, obviously, that they might get better opportunity to trial this. Whereas the Tory minister prior to this had said to this particular local authority, you know, I don't really think you should be doing this and you should stop it. They ignored him and continued, and they've had success.
Yeah. One last thing. Gen Z. I'm reading a lot of articles at the moment, Margaret, about employing Gen Z and approaching Gen Z in the workplace. I suspect they like the 4-day week. They certainly like, if you're to believe what you read, I was reading a piece in the Financial Times during the week, they like less FaceTime. The less FaceTime they have to have with the public. So they love working from home and they love their 4-day week. This is working big time for Gen Z.
And I think you're right. And probably it's not fair to just call it all about Gen Z, but certainly there is this move towards pulling back. You know, it is about work-life balance. Gen Z expect to go to concerts, they expect to do travel, they expect to see Europe, they expect to be flying out to Shannon or Cork or Dublin on a Friday for a 4-day weekend over in Paris or Milan or wherever it is. And they really are working on that balance, and they have higher expectations than possibly you and I had when we came to work. You know, we thought it was more all about the business than all about us as the individuals. I think there's a danger in that, but I think there's lots to learn in that too that can improve your engagement in the organisation. But you're right, the Gen Zs love the 4-day week. They're only starting their career and you think, well, maybe they're not so pushed to it. But in our organisation, the Gen Zs love it, absolutely love it.
All right, we'll talk again, I've no doubt, Margaret, because the 4-day week is here to stay. Margaret Cox is director of the ICE Group. They're a recruitment company in the west of Ireland. They were the first to bring in 4-day week in their line of work. Throw it out there to you. 4-day week. Would you take it if you can get it?